Fellas, it's Thursday night, and you know what that means. The We Talking About Sport boys are here to recap UFC 300 and talk about the NBA play-in and the NBA playoff picture. Roland, what's up, my boy?
Hey man, glad to be back. Second time this week. Glad you're here to talk about it. We prepped it on Tuesday. We laid it all out for you, Justin. Just excited to talk about UFC 300. I've been holding in these takes for a long time. You know, I got some positive takes to get off because our boys won. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to get into it. Chop it up with you guys.
Ben, what about you? You got some casual takes for UFC 300 that you're going to give us?
Hey, the casual corner on
I'm
this
going to
side
be
over
the
here.
casual tonight. That's why you put me up here with the logo, kind of getting in my way up here. But happy to be here. We're going to recap some UFC. I'm just excited to talk about Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, to be honest, the fight of the year coming up. And then some NBA playoffs. You know, the Rockets aren't in the playoffs, but Uno is, so we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, and Ron, you know UFC 300 such a big card. I know you're not the biggest UFC fan, but when you got a card of that magnitude, I'm sure you watched and had a good time with it, right?
I did, but I'm here to talk about the Lakers, dog. So I'm ready for that segment.
That's a very nice way of calling Ron a casual.
So you can do that.
Very nice way of calling Ron a casual. Cut on to that. Go ahead.
But I didn't do it in an assaulting way. You're right. I was pretty nice about it. But yeah, the UFC 300 is come and gone, and I have to say, man, on paper it was stacked as hell. And as a fan, you know, casual or hardcore, it freaking delivered. You normally get these awesome cards, and you're like, man, that didn't really meet my expectations. Real quick, I want to go across the board and give it a grade. I'm gonna have to say that was an A plus. Roland, A minus, A plus, B. Where we at?
A plus, like you said, the expectations were high. We talked about it when we were going through the 300 preview about the previous cards and how hyped those were and how those might have shined a little bit brighter in the lead up in comparison to 300, especially with how disappointing the announcement behind the main event was for 300. But yeah, I gotta go with you. A plus for me, and it's also a lot of it is because of how the BMF fight finished. That's like the ultimate exclamation point. Yeah. And even though the women's fight afterwards was kind of like Dana White described it as like the breath or all the air out of T-Mobile Arena went out as soon as that BMF fight ended. Because, I mean, how do you follow that up? So even though that Wei Li fight was good, it still felt like it felt flat because of what happened the fight prior. Then you have what Pereira did. We'll get into those fights when we recap them individually. But I'm there with you on the A+. Great card.
Ben, what about you? Where are you rating this card? A to D, where it's at?
What's lower, an A or an A minus?
A minus would be lower than A.
I'm going A minus. Didn't get many of those. I wasn't sure what was graded higher. I'm going A minus just because the co-main event was a women's fight.
There was knockdowns in that fight.
Dude, it was all right, bro.
And the girl almost got choked out. She pretty much got choked out.
Yeah, that she's a savage. She's a savage. But after that, like shit, the fight sucked. That was wild. Maybe I'm a little pissed because I, had a little something on Jan. But yeah, I say A minus. We go that BMF fight should have been the co-main event. I mean, look at the way that it played out. Sure. Let's be real.
Ron, what about you? What'd you give that? Or what was the grade for you on that?
I'm gonna give it a C for casual. There, Justin. A
C. Coming back at me.
All right, man. I'll go with Ben. Dare I say B plus? Just because, like Ben said, the co-main, I don't want to see a chicks fight. That's everybody started taking pictures at the barbecue. We made sure that there was beer in the fridge. It was that kind of vibe for the girl fight. So that's definitely helps with the B plus. If it wasn't for the knockout with Gaethje, that just stole the show. Obviously, that was a cherry on top. But to me, the names weren't the best. The fights delivered as far as the BMF and then the main fight being a knockout. But it wasn't like WrestleMania to me. When you think UFC 300, I expected way more.
I mean, two former champs kicked off the early prelims. It was Cody Garbrandt versus
more name recognition.
Yeah, Justin,
but it's just casual take, Ron.
But it's just name recognition too. Like everybody was hyped on Cody, and then what does he do? Typical Cody, UFC 300. Yes, it's the first fight, but what? He takes the L.
He's got vertigo, bro. He's got vertigo.
That was his latest excuse. The vertigo caught up.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like I mean, Cody, like you couldn't find anybody else to open up UFC 300 than Cody.
Cody's exciting, bro, because he's either gonna knock someone out.
Usually a main card guy. Yeah.
Jim
that's
Miller
exciting.
probably should have opened the show, though. To be real, that the Cody
And
fight
then,
should have probably been
Jim
higher.
Miller and Bobby Green, like I don't know, bro.
That
It's
was
just
a bloodfest.
Jim Miller got his ass whooped.
Yeah,
to me, UFC 300 is like all 5 fights were like all belts. Like every fight's for the belt. Like how sick would that be? That's like some fucking badass.
And then you have no other pay-per-views with belts because you all made them fight through that one card. It wouldn't work logistically. Let's open up though. Let's talk about the first fight of the main card.
We should have booked that Hasbulla fight for 300.
Him and Abdu should have fought. That would have really stole the show. But like we said with this card with Bo Nickel, it didn't really feel like it belonged on the main card just because of how lopsided Bo Nickel was as a favorite. And this was not his best fight, guys. And he still got the finish, which is a lot to say for what he is. He does look a little bit better in there, but it's still like it just didn't belong on the main card. That's what it comes down to. Ben, would you disagree with that after seeing it?
No, and I don't think he would disagree either. He was pretty pissed off at his performance.
Yeah.
I thought this was a definite, under. I thought he was going to get the first round finish. He got the fight where he wanted it.
Yep.
I mean, Brundage is a tough dude. I'll give him that. Like he I'm not going to say that. All right. He's a tough guy. He's a tough
say
guy.
No Diddy before you say you'll be all right.
No, it wasn't even going to. No,
it's going to be disrespectful, maybe.
It was going to be, let's just.
But I get what you're saying, though, man.
Let's just leave it there. He's tough, bro. All right. Like he's Happy Gilmore at the batting cages, taking the fastballs to the chest. That's Cody Brundage. So he was a tough guy, but Bo Nickel should have looked a lot better. He knew it. I mean, this was. I'm a fan of the guy, and I picked him to be the champion at the end of the year. So I'm glad that you put the belt there on him because look, I'm right already, and we're only in April. But him taking this slow path is kind of getting to me. It doesn't rub me well. Like you were talking about, you're so advanced, more advanced than everybody, and you're here, fighting cans, fighting journeymen. It's starting to rub me the wrong way.
Yeah, in the presser afterwards, but he did mention it's going to be 2 years before he even fights for the belt, if he does. So
shit, I ain't got time to be a fan of him. I don't know where I'm going to be in 2 years. I'm off the Bo Nickel train.
What would rub you the right way?
Hey. What would rub me the right way is him wanting the title shot right away. That's what would rub me the right way.
The Pajeda treatment, like
yeah, let's go.
Fast shot to the Hall of Fame right there.
Yeah, but I mean,
does he want it or not? He don't want it.
But I mean, you also got to look at it this way. He's not Pereira, though. Pereira came in with a heavy kickboxing background. Like he was well decorated. He had 2 knockouts to his name.
Like the be-all in MMA. If you're wrestling base, like that's like the main base.
Yeah, sure, and he has 2 bases, guys. You got to remember his mother's a boxing coach too, so it's not like he only has one limited set. He has 2 sets coming in.
I don't know.
Listen to this guy. We just talked about it being an A- because it was a chick fight as a co-main event. He's talking about his mom's his boxing coach. Get out of here, Justin.
I'm just saying his skill set's not limited.
I get.
It's very limited. And his mom's his boxing coach. All right, I'll tell you that right now.
She's like a really good boxing.
If all of our moms coached us, Justin, we would be.
What about that wrestler Spencer from Iowa? His mother was his coach, and she was like decorated crazy. It's crazy to think that women can't coach.
It's maybe. Maybe she is a decorated boxing coach. I'm not gonna, take that away from her. But the fight itself, just to answer the question, I think Robert Whitaker, I thought he put it well today. This is exactly what you kind of thought you would see with Bo Nickel, seeing a guy that's just slightly better than what he's seen before. He's a little bit better all around. Not to say that he's this guy that's going to be ranked one day or he's a world beater, but he was just a step up from the class he'd been seeing. And it was a little bit harder for him. Ben talked about it. Bo Nichols acknowledged, that wasn't his best performance. It was a learning experience for him more than anything. And you saw the eyes are on him. Hamzat, they've already been matching those guys up. He said that the wrestling was big bullshit. So he's not impressed with Bo Nichols wrestling. I mean, it's pretty. I mean, he is a decorated wrestler. He was a national champ at Penn State. So, I mean, he comes with the accolades, and when you see it, it is impressive. But you got to wonder at what point is that going to get stuffed? And seeing this happen on air, him not being able to cash in on that over under that Ben was talking about, cashing that under 1.5. What happens when he takes that next step up and he's forced to stay on the feet a little bit longer? Well, the guy who's able to put his mom's coaching acumen to test.
Hey, his mom made his wrestling coach, right? Just striking, right?
Just boxing. She's like a legit boxing coach. She's coached a lot of champions.
No, but all jokes aside, what I'm getting at is Bo Nickel knows that he has a little bit of work to do before he takes some more steps. I know we want to see him take more, but I do think the boxing might be a little limited if he does end up fighting somebody that's going to stuff those takedowns. It's yet to be seen. Maybe he might be just a Khabib type of guy, and he always ends up, with top control in these wrestling positions. So who knows? But
let's improve the ground and pound then, right? Let's get
and he's knocked people outstanding, so the power's there for him too.
Ooh,
I just
Justin,
don't think we'll see him again.
Outstanding, Justin. Come on, Justin. He
What?
could have been fighting me because he might as well have been fighting me.
Well, he's got the finishes, but I think this is the last time we see Bo Nickel that high a favorite. I don't think we'll see him that lined up that high again. I don't think they're going to, as the competition gets better, the Vegas odds are going to get a little shorter.
Does he get a numbered guy next?
I don't think he wants it yet. I still think he wants to slow play this and just juice these contracts. This is not hard for him right now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's true. I mean, when you can, I guess, learn on the go, because we've been throughout Pereira, and Pereira's still kind of learning on the go too, in a sense, because
he wants 3 belts, bro.
I know, but
time that this guy wants his title shot, get the fuck out of here.
I'm just saying, it's a little different.
Yeah, they're different animals.
But if you can learn on the go and still get these W's like Bo Nickel's doing, that's impressive still. See, he still has an undefeated record by his name in the UFC. Let's see how long that goes. But
jump off the train, Roland. Jump off.
Nah, I must stay on the train for a little bit. Bo knows. I still think that the talent's there, like the prerequisite, like physical attributes are there for him to, be a champion potentially one day. I doubt if he's ever going to be like a true striker. But Justin is right. He has shown power before, but let's see if that translates once he starts taking on some.
I'll say he won't be a champion. That's why I say I'm off the train, because I thought he was guaranteed to be a champion. I will say, and it's not just because of this performance, it's because of his mindset. Like, I don't like that shit.
That's what's pissed you off the most, the mindset.
It's not play. That I think like, oh my God, he finished Cody Brundage in the end of the second round and not, the beginning of the second or the first. It's because like, I don't like the 2 year. If he's saying that straight out of the horse's mouth, I'm not down with that.
Yeah.
Nah.
All right, let's move over to the second fight of the card, and that was, Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. This is one of the fights, guys, I honestly wish could have been 5 rounds. It was entertaining as hell. Tsarukyan did outstrike Charles for most of the night in this fight. I think he beat him by a considerable, 40-some strikes. But I will say, from what I saw on my end, Charles seemed to have him in trouble more in the fight than Tsarukyan ever did have Charles in trouble. Charles had him twice in good compromising positions. Tsarukyan was able to outlast him. And it wasn't the only fight he fought that night. As you saw in the walk-in, he did punch a fan who was, flicking him off or telling him something. So 2 fights, 2 wins for Tsarukyan. Roland, I'll start with you. What do you think of this fight?
Great fight, like Justin just mentioned. I felt like at times Arman was more in trouble, even though he was kind of controlling the dance most of the way. But when he was in trouble, he was really in trouble. You saw Charles Oliveira stick out his tongue when he had him in that choke there. Thought that he had him finished. I think everybody thought that Arman was finished. But, kind of some of the takeaways, though, on positive side for Arman is, he controlled the fight. He had a lot more of the control time. He was successful with his takedowns, and he outstruck Charles, like you noted, Justin. So Charles Oliveira still gives up the takedowns a little too much, in my opinion, to, actually, I think, reclaim his belt like we were talking about him potentially doing. Still think he's a competitive fighter. The fight was super competitive. He almost finished him. But Arman definitely won the fight. I don't think there was any question with the decision.
Ben, what about you? What did you think of this fight?
Had Arman going into the fight, knew he was going to win after he punched the fan. like he's ready to go. You know what I mean? No smelling
Locked
salts
in.
needed.
He's dialed in.
He's dialed in. And what I'll say is, like, Oliveira is just too comfortable fighting off his back. When you're that good at jiu-jitsu and you have the most submission finishes, by all means, I get it, bro. But more often than not, when you're fighting the top 5 guys, this guy, he reminds me, he's technical. He reminds me of the guy who's about the Spaniard that just won the belt.
Ilia Topuria.
He reminds me a lot of Topuria and the fact that they're very technical, they're very smart, high IQ guys, the type of guys that you want to back in fights. We saw he was deep in that choke, did exactly what he needed to do, forehead straight to the mat. He flopped dead almost. Thank God the ref didn't, act early. But he battled out of that choke where, yeah, maybe a lot of the guys, outside of the top 5 and maybe some in the top 5 would have gotten submitted there. But this guy is that good. He's that younger generation that, there's waves, and he's part of that newer wave. So it was impressive. I'll say it was impressive for Oliveira. I don't think it was that bad of a loss. He didn't look too horrible. He had his moments. He has a huge fan base, regardless if he wins or loses, but he still stays in the mix of fighting, guys that want to break into that top 5, I believe.
So Arman Tsarukyan was my prediction for at the end of the year 155 champion. He was offered the fight immediately after UFC 300. He turned it down because he wanted to get some time in before he fought Islam. And now we got Dustin Poirier booked for that fight with 155 against Arman Tsarukyan. But that brings me to the next one, because before this fight, I started telling Roland, Max Holloway with the win here, Roland, he could potentially fight for either belt. He was chirping at Islam prior to the fight, saying Islam never wants to defend his title against 155ers. He only wants to fight 145ers. And a win here would give him the chance to fight at 155 or 145. And unfortunately, it seems like 155 is out of the mix for him. And as of today, Ilya's saying, if Max doesn't put the BMF title on the line, I don't even want to fight him at 145. I'd rather give the rematch. So now Max seems to be screwed out of 2 title fights that he should have been able to call. Roland, I got to go with you first because it's your boy. The best was blessed on Saturday, and I want to hear from you.
Oh, my God, dude. The best definitely was blessed on Saturday, and it was from start to finish, wire to wire, from horn to horn, however you want to put it. He led the dance, and I have to say, I was surprised the whole time I was watching. Of course, I'm watching standing up. I'm, just thinking the worst, obviously, because we go into this thinking that, he's going up against a knockout artist and Justin Gaethje, a 155er. We know the history with Max going up, even though it was a long time ago. But still, Gaethje's coming in off of an impressive victory. We talked about that in the pre-show, but all that stuff was in the back of my head. But Max continued to lead the dance. He was a step too quick. He did eat a lot of leg shots throughout the fight, but that didn't seem to deter him. At a certain point, it just comes down to pain tolerance. You got to think, right? Some guys will maybe shift their stance. Other guys are just able to go. And Max is just one of those guys. He's built different. And he proved it the last 10 seconds of the fight with his, the patent call out in the middle of the ring. And he just threw down with Justin Gaethje. And I don't think I've ever in sport, like with a single play or finish or anything, have gone as crazy as I went with that knockout. Yes, the fight was already in tow, but there's just something, and sometimes a lot of those finishes where they do go at the end and they say, hey, let's throw down, it's a little underwhelming, or they wail on each other and they miss or something like that, or they're too tired to actually affect each other. But it just ended in a clean knockout. So what I'm getting, I don't think I've ever gone as crazy as I went on Saturday night. I almost lost my voice. It was a great fight. Justin, I do think he's going to end up fighting Ilya. I think that was just a little bit of, wordplay between the both of them. Ilya's, he's a good shit talker to himself, just, kind of trying to rile up Max, I think. So I think that fight's going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen if Max does pull that off and, maybe gets to call a shot for a double champ, even though he did say he'd like to fight Conor McGregor at some point when he did get home from that fight at 300. So I don't know, man. Perfect Saturday night. I got to say, the BMF fight did not disappoint. Like Ben said earlier, that was the people's main event. I know when I was watching the fight with the people that I was watching it with, that by far had everybody's attention and got everybody going the most. So, yeah, man, BMF, undoubted. It's Max Holloway.
Man, Max left us with a moment that just transcends through sports. It's iconic, bro. I don't think it's just a moment for MMA or UFC. This is like a historical sports moment. I mean, people will remember that knockout forever, pointing to the center of the ring when you're up arguably 4-1 on the cards and saying, let's just go for broke. I mean, that's BMF, bro. What do you think, Casual?
Yeah, I thought, hey, you called me a casual.
I had
Hey,
to throw it to you. You were calling us
Hey.
casual for picking Max. I had to give it one time.
story time real quick.
Let me hear it.
Saturday, bro, I watched this fight on my cell phone, bro.
Why, bro?
Bro, I went over to my uncle's house up in Buda. My other uncle came up from the valley. Mom came up, sister came up, barbecue at your uncle's for the fights.
Okay. Sounds like a good
It was
time.
supposed to be for the Canelo fight. Moved it up. This is a big one. My uncle brings his valley shit to watch the fights, bro. And it's just freezing, bro, and I'm trying to throw hints like, hey, bust out the credit card, like let's pay for this shit, right? But
Yeah.
it's just freezing, bro, and I get fed up, bro, and I'm like, hey, yeah, we gotta go. I'm coming home. I still got time. I'm in Buda. I gotta get back to New Braunfels, about a 30-minute drive. Fuck it, BMF fights 5 rounds. I'll be home for the co-main and the main, watching it on my big screen. No skipping, no mamadas, bro. Left my 2 uncles on the couch watching that shit freeze every other combo that was thrown. Like, oh, bro, I had to make an executive decision. I bailed. Was watching the Max Holloway and Gaethje fight on my phone. Surprised as hell. Gabby driving. Knockout happens. I start going crazy. Mom and sister in the back seat, half asleep already, right? Just wanting to be home.
Just wake
And
him
Gabby,
up.
oh my God, what happened? What happened? So I'm showing her the knockout. But that's how I watched this fight, bro.
Damn.
Okay, this all-timer, the fight of the year for this year. That's how me, the fucking MMA fucking fanatic, watched this fight, bro. So yes, call me a casual, Justin. I'll take it. But I was wrong. I was way wrong on this one. So another reason to call me a casual. I'll eat my crow. I thought Gaethje was going to beat him up. I do think that they should have awarded Gaethje that knockdown. That was not a slip. It was a knockdown. But if they want to keep that stat of Max Holloway has never been dropped before, fine. We all saw it. It was a knockdown.
I think it was too.
I don't think he was hurt. His feet were in the wrong place. He got hit. He got knocked down. Not saying he was rocked. I'm not saying the fight was about to be over, but that's a knockdown, fam. Like, you know, nerds, stat nerds at ESPN, cut the bullshit. That was a knockdown. Cut the bullshit. All right? But Max looked good, bro. This is what happens when he has time to move up in weight. He did it the right way. We saw him go up short notice to fight Islam. Of course, it would have been a different fight against Islam. He would have had to be defending takedowns, right?
Sure.
But, man, he looked fast, bro. He looked real fast. Gaethje was a fucking punching bag of all punching bags. Respect at the end. I think Gaethje just had to secure that it was going to be fight of the night and go out with that moment, right? I'm going to get that $300,000 at least. Fuck it. But awesome. He won $600,000 in bonuses. Ilya Topuria needs to shut the fuck up. Max Holloway calls the shots here, kid. All right? Volkanovski, keep your ass on the other side of the pond, wherever Australia is.
He's doing some construction work right now.
Yeah.
That was a good video.
Yeah,
Stick to the work boots. Max Holloway's calling the shots here. It sucks that he's going to have to move back down. I know he probably won't struggle to cut weight, but no diddy. He filled himself out to fight at 155. He looked good, bro.
Yeah, he did.
He looked good. Last time he looked way too small against Poirier. I said Islam earlier, but against Poirier, he looked way too small. He got bullied. This fight, he looked good. So shout out Max Holloway. He's calling the shots, Ilya. Shut the fuck up.
Let's see what happens with Gaethje after this. With this loss, that probably puts him out of the title picture.
2 things on this fight. It saved the card, and that broken nose at the end of round 1 kind of fucked it all up because
Good point.
Gaethje wasn't the
Good
same
call
after
out.
that.
That kick with like 2 seconds left, Ron, you're right. It broke his nose. Gaethje was rubbing
Fucked him
his
all up.
nose. The blood was flowing.
Yeah.
It fucked him up. And that's a kick that most guys are just, they hear the horn, They see the time. They're okay to get out. Max was throwing that spinning kick, and that
He
one
spammed
hit
it
him
a
in
few
the
times.
nose.
Yeah.
Changed the fight, Ron. Good point, Ron.
All right, let's move over real quick. We're just going to glance over this one. Zhang Wei Li wins. She retains, but it was a fun fight nonetheless. Roland did mention it was, we came off the roller coaster. We came off the top, so it felt a little flat for the fans. She did get knocked down twice, but she retained the belt. I'm not sure what's next for Wei Li at this point, Roland, because she's kind of, defended against, she needs, the who's who of the division. So we're going to see what happens, but good for the UFC PI in China, having two Chinese representatives here. I'm sure that's going to blow up over there. So what'd you make of the fight? What do you want to see for Wei Li next?
So what do I make of the fight? I thought it was pretty exciting. We talked about it earlier with the Yan pretty much being choked out and being saved by the bell.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was choked out. I think she was really out at that point in time. She really did get saved by the bell. Thankfully, the fight continued. But man, I gotta go back to that comment that I talked about earlier with the air kind of just going out of the room after that Max Holloway fight, because I felt like I watched the fight, but was I paying 100% attention to it the whole time? No, I was kind of going around because I had people over at the time, and so I was having a good time. But the fight was exciting. What do I want to see for Wei Li next? I mean, I'm saying this, kind of like tongue in cheek, but man, just let's see her bulk up and go to 125 and see what she can do. For some, was she already? She's not a double champ already, is she? I mean, I think that's next for her. Yeah, to try and be a double champ. Let's see her go up to 125 and test the waters there, because that's the next step for her in my eyes. Yeah, she's had trouble here and there, but I mean, she's fought the who's who. She fought Rose. She fought Joanna, Yan. It was a pretty decorated fighter coming into this. So, yeah, I think she's done enough to make the claim to go up to 125. I don't know if that's what she wants to do, but I think she could if she wanted to. She's a physical enough fighter to get it done.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all I need to hear on this one. Let's move over to the main event.
Well, you don't think do you think she'd go up to 125?
I think that's a possibility. You got Rose Namajunas, who just went up to 125. She's found success, so I don't see why she wouldn't also want to test the waters and double champ it.
Yeah.
Jessica Andrade has moved up, and she's got success. It's not the biggest. It's like 10 pounds. It's not like a 15-pound.
And she's a workout warrior. We talked about it. She's throwing 1,000 leg kicks a day on each side, and then running 20 miles.
And women with a double champ, we see Nunes do it with 145 made up belt and 135. So why not see, Wei Li try her hand at it? But let's move over to the main event. And man, what a main event it was. This was a 1 round or second round finish? I can't really remember. It was a second round.
It was a first round finish.
Was it a first round?
Let's call Ben back for this one. I want to hear.
He's coming back right now
for sure.
So, yeah, we had a finish, a knockout. Pereira, speed running his Hall of Fame. He's fighting everybody and anybody. He's the middleweight champion. He's avenged his wins for Glover. Now he's the light heavyweight champion. And he put Hill out pretty easily. He outclassed him standing. I was afraid for Hill if he was going to try to keep it standing with Pereira, this would happen. And sure enough, Hill wanted to test himself. And Hill's a badass for that, not just going straight for the takedown. But he did pay the price, and he paid it dearly with the knockout. Ben, I'm going to go to you first because Hill is your boy. What did you think of the fight?
Damn, perfect timing, huh? Perfect timing.
What round did it finish in?
This one?
The first round. That's what we thought.
Damn.
There you go, Justin.
Yeah, and I was wrong. I was on Jamal Hill here. Pereira, I know y'all thought the Max Holloway moment was badass, and as badass as it was, he had a savage-ass moment, too. Just telling Herb Dean, hey, I know I kicked in the nuts. Back up, though, Herb. I just got this timing down.
No, I got this.
My next punch, this fool's going to sleep. That was crazy. That was savage. Turns out he was fighting with a broken toe as well. I do like the call-out of Aspinall, even though I do think Aspinall will probably wrestle him. If they start striking, that shit could be fun. I don't know if he can. That Brazil card next month needs a main event. It is a pay-per-view. It needs a main event.
Isn't Pantoja the main event right now? Or
yeah, and
And they're bringing Jose Aldo back for that card too. Yeah.
Usyk is the other guy, and that's not $60. You know what I mean? That
Dana's
card is not
reaching,
$60.
That's one they got to put on
Dana's
ESPN
reaching.
Plus for the fans.
Yeah.
So
Aldo just got into the Hall of Fame already, right?
Yep.
yeah.
Come on.
Shout out Pereira, bro. I mean, they should make a movie out of this shit. This guy, I mean, he kind of put Izzy in the past, bro. I know Izzy has the last fight that they fought, he got the win, but this kickboxing shit, Alex Pereira is that guy. Izzy had it, but I mean, I think that Pereira now has the fan base probably that Izzy has. There's people that really don't like Izzy. There's not a lot of people that dislike Pereira. I just thought he was going to lose. It's not like I dislike the guy. But, you know, while Jamal, shout out True UK fan on Twitter, but while Jamal Hill was at the Apex every weekend with a beer in his hand, Alex Pereira was in Glover Teixeira's garage, bro. And that's a dangerous place, Glover Teixeira's garage.
Oh, yeah. No, man, I agree. I think Chama, that's all. I got to get that out once. Chama. But not. Oh, yeah, and then this whole thing, that was cool. That was a whole moment. But no, man, Pereira, he right now at this point, he can call any shot that he wants. I don't know if the Aspinall thing's going to come to fruition. If it did, I don't think it'll be, you know, within the next like couple of months or anything. I think it's going to take some time for him to get there. But man, I really don't have any words to say on the Pereira side other than I think he's, like Ben said, kind of put Izzy off to the side. Although Izzy's not going to let us forget that he has that, you know, the last victory over him and that there's no need to run it back. But no, man, he's proving to be a good champion. Let's see what's next for him. On the Jamal Hill side, I do think it was a little crazy for him. I do give him props, like Justin said, too, for deciding to stand up. But that was the clear advantage in everybody's eyes, I think, for Alex Pereira. I mean, yes, Jamal Hill has shown some knockout acumen in the build-up to this fight. But as Ben likes to say, there's levels to this. And Pereira clearly showed there's levels when it comes to striking. And he's at the very top of that totem pole.
What the fuck was I thinking, bro? Like, I had Jamal Hill winning that fight, too. What the fuck was I thinking?
Well, I mean, there's people thinking like you were, Ben. I mean, the line opened up like minus 150. And
I know, Roland, but that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
I didn't think like Ben.
Do you all think that? I didn't think like that.
I didn't, bro. I mean, look, like they're way different fighters. Jamal Hill's slow and he's not that technical. I mean, come on, man. This guy almost was a double champ who he was gonna face, bro. Casuals pick Jamal Hill.
God, hey, I'm down. I said, call me a casual this whole episode. I'm with it. I'll eat my crow. I'll eat my crow. But you're right.
Ben's a good sport. I'll give him that. He's taking it well on the chin.
Hey, but he even gets it. Like, even with that shit, like, you know, this guy doesn't really speak English, which I think he does need to pick up, because if he starts speaking English, he could be Anderson Silva type big.
Facts.
Like he could be really big.
Yep.
But do you all think that we see inflated lines with Pereira, or is it still going to be like, oh, he still has the probability of being taken down, and we're going to get him, you know, below the minus 200s, which for MMA fights is decent.
So he's probably going to fight Yuri Prochazka next for the light heavyweight title, and I actually think we're going to see Pereira has a dog in that fight. Yuri looked really good against Rakic, another one that unfortunately you were on the wrong side of. And I think we're going to see Pereira in the plus 150 area, more or less, for the next fight.
Oh, man. So I've heard, too, the other name there, Mohamed Ankalaev would be another matchup potentially for Pereira. So that, I mean, I don't know. I kind of agree with Ben. I think
Ankalaev's wrestling for sure.
And I guess, you know, in a sense, Justin, too, where I do think we'll continue to get, you know, favorable lines on Pereira. We continue to keep on taking him. Although I will say, if this line were redone, like if they were to rematch this fight or whatever, for whatever reason, it would be Pereira like minus like 400. I would have to think. 3-1. So, and which rightfully so, because I mean, obviously Jamal Hill didn't show, you know, any willingness to want to wrestle in this fight. So you got to think that would happen again. But yeah, man, Pereira, I agree with Ben, could be another Anderson Silva. Don't know if it's necessarily tied to him, you know, learning English as much as it is, you know, him continuing to knock these guys out and just continuing to build that aura, because he has that aura around him. You can tell the moment they stepped in the octagon, Jamal Hill's his demeanor changed. It went from, cursing at Pereira in the presser the day before to, all right, we're good here. Let's just get this glove tap over with. Like,
Did you see the whole glove tap where he did the chin thing? Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what
the
I'm
moment
talking
was
about.
too big for
Yeah,
Jamal
like-
before the fight.
And Pereira, there's no moment too big for him. It's clear he's got that demeanor. He's got a good team behind him. Can't say that enough with the team that they built. So, yeah, man, I like Pereira. Let's see if he continues to, cancel out his, lack of wrestling acumen. His power, his striking is a great equalizer, which I think we thought, was going to happen with Gaethje, the power being the equalizer there. But it's proven that, his striking, he's so good at being a striker that it doesn't matter if he's not so good at being a wrestler, because he's just so much at the top of his game at this one piece of MMA that, makes him unstoppable at this point. Who knows? I don't, no disrespect to Jamal Hill. He's a former champ, but I don't think he's going to be looked at as one of the toughest tests of Pereira's career. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think we're out of the woods yet. Shout out Taylor Swift. She's got an album coming out tonight.
Nah, we're not shouting out Taylor Swift. Hey, Roland, nah.
Hey, I just have to
No
get
one
that.
would have known that reference if Roland
Nah.
didn't say it.
I know.
Yeah, we could have lived
but-
without that shit, Roland.
What I'm trying to say is the story's not done being written on Pereira. Like, I still think he's got more tests to clear here, like to, be a part of that gold standard. Although, I mean, like Ben said in the beginning, you got to write a movie about this crap. Like, the stuff that Pereira's done in his build up to getting these titles, it's unheard of. I do think there's guys in this division who could challenge him and maybe get him on the ground, but still 5 rounds, you got to like his chances of putting anybody out in that time. So I don't know. The future is all his at this point.
What'd y'all make of the black belt being awarded to him after the fight? He didn't have to grapple, but they gave him a jiu-jitsu black belt after that win.
I'll let Ben. I don't know too much about that.
Ron has one of those.
Oh, Ron's a black belt. Nice.
I got it the same way. Knock somebody out.
Yeah.
Hey,
Streets
Jerry-
gave it to Ron.
Jerry's getting here just in time for some Mavs talk. What's up, Jerry?
Oh, can't wait to shit on the man.
Well, let's move over to this Saturday's fight, and that is Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. This is a rematch. We've seen them in the amateur ranks fight 6 times. They split the card 3-3, with the last one Haney winning in a 3-round bout in the national championships in their youth. They were 16 at the time. They're a little bit older now. And I got to say, Ben, it seems like the promotion here is being carried one way, and it's one-way traffic by Ryan Garcia. He's carrying this fight. It's an $80 fight, Ben. Are you somewhat interested at all in paying $80 for this fight?
No shot. This is one that I would sit through while it was freezing. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Babe, we're not getting in the car and driving 30 minutes home for this one. Nah, we're good. This fool Garcia, bro, straight like sold his soul to sell this fight. Like, this is some of the nastiest shit we've seen. Like, if they let Camarada fight and something really bad happens to him, even though Devin Haney, he doesn't do a lot of bad things to people, even though he's a fighter. You know what I mean? He's a boxer.
He just spams his jab all over the place.
Yeah, I think Garcia is going to be okay. He can't get any worse. Like, if we're listening to this guy, I do like the build-up, like the IG videos that I'm seeing of this guy. They're wild, bro. They're wild.
He's being held against his will.
Yeah, he's part of that internet culture. He's entrenched in that, and you can tell this is what he's doing to build it up. I mean, today's press conference, he opened up with a prayer, and by the end of it, he was telling someone to suck his genitalia, which is the craziest thing.
Did he use that word?
No, he used the D word.
Wow.
But I don't want to get,
getting into your
banned
bag.
or, censored here on Facebook
That's a
where we make some
Scrabble word
money
right there, cuz.
saying it. Roland, what do you make of this fight? Are you intrigued at all with this fight?
Oh, man, I'm intrigued, and it's all because of the buildup, honestly. I mean, if I wasn't paying attention to the buildup, I don't know if I would necessarily want to tune into this fight. Haney should win the fight. I think that's how it's lined. I haven't looked at the lines recently, but Ryan Garcia's he's off his rocker right now, and I don't know if he's necessarily doing it on purpose. I mean, I was watching an interview with Oscar De La Hoya, another guy who's kind of, not on the straight and narrow, if you will, but he was saying that he thinks that Ryan knows what he's doing and is trying to, rattle Devin Haney. And, he was alluding to, Devin Haney getting out of character and pushing Ryan Garcia at the top of the Empire State Building and saying how that's not really something that Haney's done before. And so he's kind of getting under his skin. But even that being said, that only goes so far. And I know there's a lot that we don't necessarily see on camera. So I say all that to say that we're seeing all this crazy shit that Ryan Garcia is doing, starting with the whole scare of him being held against his will or potentially like robbed at gunpoint in his apartment or something like that. And then all these crazy things that have ensued since then. I'm trying to say there still might be actual training going on, right, for Ryan Garcia. But
we've seen it. He was training in church shoes yesterday. I mean, it's getting wild, bro. It's dress loafers, and he's in the ring hitting pads.
That's part of the stuff that they want us to see, or that they want Haney and them to see, right? But even all that being said, that only goes so far. So you got to hope that he's actually still training for this, because it's still dangerous to be stepping out there. I don't know. I got to look at the odds. If Haney's a favorite, I got to think Haney's going to win, because I think Ryan's hit a wall in his professional career as far as the talent that he's going up against. But he's the one selling this fight. To me, he's technically the A side in this situation. He's the one that's bringing the eyes to the TV. I don't know if that's necessarily going to translate to pay-per-view buys, but he's getting people to watch. And it's mostly because of him, because we were talking about it off camera. Haney doesn't offer much in terms of a personality to build up a fight. No offense to Haney, but we're watching this because of Ryan Garcia right now.
Yeah, I'm with Ron here. I think Garcia is going to take the L, Ron, like you mentioned in the comments here. We saw with the last fight, he fought Duarte, and he was using that, shoulder roll, the Mayweather style, the Philly shell, and it wasn't successful. He was getting pieced up in that fight until he finally got his finish. And we've been seeing in the training videos, he's trying to do it again. And Haney's going to be able to, take advantage of that completely. That's something he's seen his whole life. What do you make of it, Ron?
Just perfect timing, because I put the odds right on the bottom there. This is going to be a boxing clinic by Haney.
Oh, bro, Ron. I thought you would be on the Garcia.
Ron, you got the odds of the Lakers or something, because I'm seeing Lakers 26, Pelicans 34.
Not on my screen.
No, it's Haney 835.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Minus 835.
And the comeback on Garcia plus 535.
Plus 535.
Sounds about right.
I mean, this is going to be a boxing clinic, man. And when you think of Devin Haney, to me, you think of guys like Tank. You think of guys like Floyd Mayweather. These guys, just boxing is their lives. They're not worried about the internet. They're not worried about selling pay-per-views. These guys kick ass in the ring because that's all that they know since they were kids. These guys just grew up boxing, man. And they're not, I mean, you could say that they're entertainers, but at the end of the day, I think that they're guys like that, boxing skill-wise, is just, there's levels to it, and they're way better than guys like Ryan Garcia. So give me Haney. I mean, in a parlay, obviously, because the money line is just ridiculous. I think Ryan has no chance. And I think it ends semi-early. I mean, I would say 8, but maybe they stretch it to 10 just because you guys said that Haney does jab, really doesn't end fights, knock people out. I don't think that Garcia will let himself knocked out. I think his defense is okay enough. Maybe he'll rope-a-dope a few rounds just to drag out the fight, but not a fight that I'm paying for. Throw it on the Gorilla Box. Let's drink some Happy Dads. And
hey, what if Garcia just walks out of the ring, says fuck, he just stays on his yaka and takes off, nah, I just gotta call. It's a family emergency. I gotta go. What if he just does some crazy shit?
Then he loses.
Wow, he'll step in and get the check.
He loses.
Nobody ever want to fight him again.
He'll step in and get the check.
So do you guys put any credence in this being the 7th time they fought? Ryan's probably felt his power, knows what it's like. Do you think you put anything into that?
Not so much. Haney's probably accelerated his game a lot more since the last time they fought. But I mean, 6 times is a lot, though. To your point, I get what you're getting at, Justin.
That was when they were amateurs, but you've seen one guy take his career, like Ron mentioned, boxing is life, take his career a lot more seriously than like Ryan Garcia, who's acting like an internet baby, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, and they both fought big names. You know, Devon's fought Loma, and Ryan Garcia's got in there with Tank. So we've seen them fight the who's who of the boxing world. I'm intrigued. I'm gonna watch, but I ain't paying $80. I'll tell you that. Let's move over, boys. It's the association time. We're gonna move over to the play-in that's happening tomorrow night.
You can parlay Haney with the Warriors, right?
Nah, the Warriors are out, buddy.
I think you missed it on that one.
Yeah.
Well, we got Chicago and Miami playing for their lives in the playoffs here, and Miami's gonna be without Jimmy Buckets. He's gonna be out. He's got an MCL injury, Ron. Who do you got winning this game?
If they played the way they played last night, the Bulls easy.
Roland, what you got here?
It's tough. You know, Alex Caruso, I think he's key to this matchup defensively. Obviously, now that Jimmy Butler is out, you know, their options are limited on offense a little bit more than they were already. It's impressive. He played that whole game with that MCL injury because he hurt it early. So props to Jimmy Butler, you know, powering through, but probably going to be done even if the Heat do get this done. But give me the Bulls. It's tough because the line still shows the Heat as the favorites the last time that I checked earlier this afternoon. But I like the Bulls to get it done here. And props to them for getting it done against the Hawks last night. That was an impressive victory, even though it was against the Hawks.
If it's still live, slam the Bulls.
What's your pick for this fight? This game Friday night?
Yeah, I think the Heat are probably a short favorite still because they are playing at home, and the Heat in the playoffs at home usually are pretty good. I mean, we saw Embiid went crazy on them late in that fourth quarter, you know, to edge away that win. It was still a close game. But without Jimmy Butler, and they were already missing Terry Rozier. I don't know if Terry Rozier is supposed to miss tomorrow. But he didn't play against the 76ers.
What a coaching clinic by Spoelstra in the first half, bro. He was pulling out the zone. They were
100%.
They were blitzing Embiid on the dump-ins. So, you know, even with the Ben, you talked about it being at home, and you got to add Spoelstra being the coach. You got to think it's going to be a close game because he's got a game plan for one game, and there's might not be a better coach at doing that than Spoelstra for sure.
I'm still going to go. This is a college tournament style to me, right?
Yeah.
You know, this is what I'm playing like. And Kobe White, 40 points. You still got DeMar DeRozan. Yep. You got Vucevic to match up against Bam. I'm going to go with the Bulls as well. So I'll ride Kobe White's hot hand. You know, 40 points. Let's keep it up. They're going to have to rely on Tyler Hero to be the main offensive creator. We saw Nick Batum block Tyler Hero, fam. I never thought I was going to have to say Nick Batum's name 2 years ago ever again. And here we are with him closing the game out for the Sixers. Also doesn't put the Sixers in the best spot, but Nick Batum, bro. Nick Batum.
All right.
Bulls plus 1.5. I'm taking it now.
Yeah, take it.
There we go.
Let's move over to the Pelicans and the Kings. The Kings end up beating the Warriors to stay in. They light the beam, and we see the Pelicans fall a little short of their comeback against the Lakers. Zion Williamson, you know, he was really bringing them back. He ends up hurting himself. I still don't know what the injury was. I'm sure it's out. I don't know if he's questionable or not going to play at this point. Guys, I'm going to go to Ben first. What do you make of this game? Who's winning this one? Who's going to stay in the Western playoffs?
I'm going to kick it to Ron because Ron already has a pretty strong opinion on this one. He already, you know, put something down. So I'll go to Ron. He's usually a Zion guy. I believe Zion's been officially ruled out. But Ron, you already got a play here, right?
Yeah, Kings money line to close out a parlay, but they're a short favorite at minus 1.5. I'm all over this, man. We saw what CJ McCollum didn't do last game. Brandon Ingram wasn't even in during the fourth quarter. Zion dropped 40, and they still lost, and we're still down 18 at some point. And the Kings, like the Bulls, I think they like to run the floor. They're quick. They have young players. They're draining threes from everywhere. We did a show where we thought it might be troublesome for Fox to go out there without guys like Malik Monk and Huter, but people stepped up. Everybody played their game, and the Kings played great. I think they continue that. They go and beat the New Orleans Pelicans, who just are not vibing right now, man.
Yeah, one of those guys. Shout out what I think his first name, Keon Ellis. Had not heard of him before
Yes,
this
from
year.
Bama,
Number
right?
23. Yeah, from Bama. Good call out, Ron. Played a great defensive game, hit a couple threes in that game. Just an example of what Ron was saying of guys stepping up. And that reason, I'm going with the Kings. I think they have more weapons in this situation. We talked about it also in that pre-show before the play-in in that Lakers Pelicans game, that the Pelicans really couldn't survive one of their guys having an off game. Even though Zion exploded, they didn't have another guy really to turn to. CJ made a shot or two down the stretch, but they really fell flat after that. Ingram didn't have a good game, still battling through injury. So without Zion, the Pelicans really have no choice. So no chance, excuse me. And I know they do realistically have a chance, but I'm gonna go with the Kings here to get it done.
Yeah, for me, I mean, Jose Alvarado was part of that big comeback for them as well. He was the guy on the court. CJ McCollum played horrible. Brandon Ingram, same thing. Without Zion, I mean, I know that we picked the Warriors to beat the Kings, but the Kings have shown they're going to be at home again. I believe they're the higher ranked team.
No, it's the Pelicans.
You're going to New Orleans.
They're going to New
Going
Orleans.
to New Orleans.
The Smoothie King Center.
That does the Smoothie King Center. That does kind of change it. So is Brandon Ingram hurt? Or
Yeah, he's battling an injury. He was hurt down the stretch, so he missed much of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he was on the bench for most of the fourth.
I didn't know if he just wasn't playing because of how shitty he was playing, and the other guys had it going, or he was hurt. But with both of their two best players, and you got to go to CJ McCollum, and I mean, we know what he's been in the playoffs with the Blazers in his past, and he's just a little too small. He can't be the main guy, so I'm going to go with the Kings again. Shout out Keegan Murray. He went off. I didn't know he had range like that. I ain't going to lie. 8 of 13 from three-point range.
I think he had the first 10 points of the game.
30-some points. That was crazy. That was crazy. We talked about guys needing to step up. Ellis went 3 for 4 from 3. Keegan Murray went off from 3. Shit, I even saw that kid Mitchell from Baylor hit a couple of threes. Yeah. So the Kings, they got it going right now. Like I said, college vibes. We're going to ride the hot team. Let's go with the Kings.
All right. Let's move over. We're going to see some of the series odds for the East here in the West before we break down. Ron, you made this slide. You want to break it down for us real quick?
Yeah. So on the East side, we have Cleveland favored over Orlando, Indiana Pacers with Giannis out becoming the favorites in that series. And then we have a dead even lock on the Knickerbockers and the 76ers. Moving over to the West, the Mavs are favored over the Clippers. Phoenix is favored over Minnesota, which I think is, I could see them being favored, but minus 140 is kind of a lot to me. And then the biggest, Vegas mistake I've ever seen, the Lakers at plus 310 going to get to the defending champs at, what do you know? Surprise, surprise, 420. The game is on 420 and it'll be fun to watch. It'll be a nice Saturday, boys. But regardless of it, man, I'll give my picks real quick. I'm going with the Lakers, Minnesota on the west side as upsets there.
All right, let's get into this.
Yeah, man. It's real quick before we get into it, though. I'm just looking at the slide before. I do want to point out it is nice to see how closely lined pretty much all but one of these series are. So that means that we're expecting a lot of closely contested first round series, and there's a lot of unknowns, quite frankly, in a lot of these series that Ron highlighted some of which. But yeah, man, it's going to be a good postseason.
All right, let's get into this first game with the Cleveland Cavaliers minus 205 over Orlando plus 146. Ben, is Banchero going to pull off the upset here against these Cavs?
Yeah, it's going to take a lot, to be honest. I do like, the Miami Heat guards to be able to play some defense. You put Jalen Suggs on Donovan Mitchell. I think that he's going to make Donovan Mitchell work for everything that he gets. You know what I mean? But essentially, no Diddy. I think the Cavs are just too big. I know Wendell Carter Jr. is back for them. I don't know if they're going to give Bogazé or Bazage any run. The Magic, I think that Mobley and Jared Allen are going to have their way. I do think that it goes 6 or 7 games, though. This is really good for the Magic. They're in the playoffs already 1 year after drafting Paulo Banchero. sitting at a pretty good spot. I think this is the 4-5 matchup, if I'm not mistaken. So this is their first playoff run. I expect them to get their feet wet, but the Cavs, I think with, some veteran leadership, I think the Cavs are going to get it done, and they'll win this series in 6 or 7.
Roland, like Ben mentioned, it's good to see this youth, this young talent, already coming to fruition for the NBA. Do you think the Magic with their youth and Bakero and those young guards, can they pull off this upset?
Probably not the first go around in the playoffs. I do think it's a little too much to ask, and I agree with this being lined at 205. They did split the regular season series 2-2. Not really close contests in most of those games, but I do like the Cavs. Like Ben said, I think that interior presence that they have, along with that veteran leadership they have with Donovan Mitchell, can light it up with anybody. Dennis Garland also coming into his own as a point guard there for that team. But yeah, I think it's a little too much to ask for the Magic in this team's first go round in the playoffs to get it done. So give me the Cavs here. Should be about a six game series. Would be surprised if it gets stretched to 7, but who knows? But I do like the Cavs to get it done.
I don't know, Jeremy. I don't think Jeremy's gonna have to worry about Donovan Mitchell because they will win this series. I think they will win this series, and give me 6 games, like Ben said. I'll keep mine short because here it's just experience, over guys who haven't been there before. So I'm gonna ride with experience.
Clear?
Cleveland
in 6. He was very clear.
Cleveland in no more than 6.
Oh shit!
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you're. Yeah, I don't know
if you're. Hey, Justin. Now, what's Justin's problem?
No, I just wanted to be clear because he's in the comments one and the he said another. I was like,
well, yeah, it's because Justin doesn't know the betting terminology, man. He doesn't live life like us. There's leans and then there's locks. That's a lean, Justin. A lock is a for sure bet.
Hey, but just to piggyback off Jerry about Cavs getting bounced, you think Mitchell does? They probably don't get bounced this round, but whenever they do get bounced, I think Mitchell's days in Cleveland are numbered. I think that, this is his last year there, to be honest. So I agree with Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, as far as experience, I'm talking about, years in the league.
Yeah, now I got you. All right, let's
go. The Magic are going to do like what Minnesota did last. We've seen the young teams in the playoffs do well. Regular season, go into the playoffs with a decent seed, and then not. It's the playoffs. It's different basketball, bro.
The Cavs have multiple guys who've made multiple trips to the playoffs on their team. So and multiple rounds. Maybe not as a unit, but they do have guys. So,
I mean, the Magic have the Wagner brothers, bro. Come on.
This is a very close game.
Like this one.
And you got Milwaukee as the dog here, coming off 2 years ago winning the championship, and they're the dog against Indiana. We've talked about how Milwaukee just is not gelling. Dame doesn't look happy there. Really, he doesn't. And with Giannis, it's just not working out. I can see why it's lined this. Ben, do you think this is fair the way it's lined?
This is fair, and I'm going to sound like a hypocrite like 60 seconds after I just said, this is the playoffs and young teams pump the brakes. But Giannis is hurt. Right? Giannis is hurt. The Bucks don't play much defense. We do not respect their head coach at all. The guy that came in to a team that he was going to be the all-star coach for, and he was like, this job is hard. Shut the fuck up, dog. Like, stay behind the desk, have Doris Burke hold your hand, but shut up, bro. Living every man's dream and then bitching and pouting, bro. Get out of here. I'm on the Pacers. I do think Bobby Portis is going to go off this series. Hey, Bobby Portis don't play. Any chance he gets in the playoffs, any chance he gets to
steps
start,
up.
He goes off. Guaranteed double-double. So if you're somebody on that, prop shit, Bobby Portis this series. But I'm going with Halliburton, Turner, and the young guys, Mathurin, the Pacers. I'm going with the Pacers to win this series. I think it's going to be a high-scoring series. But give me the Pacers.
Ron, we talked about Donovan Mitchell possibly leaving the Cavs if they don't get through. You got to think here, Dame's gone, right? If they don't get through.
It's tough because Giannis got hurt. If you give him one more year together, maybe bring in some other pieces, you never know. He was with Portland forever, so I don't think he wants to be known as a guy who's going to be bouncing around from team to team.
True.
As
just
far-
rap about it, cuz. Go just rap about it.
Yeah. As far as my pick here, man, very tough because you want to jump on the Pacers right away for all the reasons that Ben stated, but you still have a lot of all-stars over there in Milwaukee. I mean, Dame is Dame. He can get you a series. You know, he can't go win you a ship this year, but he can get you a series against the Pacers, you know? Official pick.
You would think. Back when Wally Garza was rocking with him, Dame would get you a series against the Pacers.
Official pick, I think is it
Is it a lean?
Tyrese?
Is it a lean or a lock? Lean or a lock?
Oh,
Lean or a lock?
whoa!
Official, so
Pacers,
that's lock.
Lean or a
Yeah,
lock?
I'm
Lean or a
gonna
lock?
say, hold on. Pacers because of Halliburton. I think he's an up and coming star, and this is going to be a breakout party for him.
Pat
Roland,
Bev's
what-
going to
what
try
about
and give
you
him
here?
hell, Roland. Pat Bev's going to try and give Halliburton hell.
Nah, the Milwaukee Bucks, they were a dead in the water team with Giannis on that roster this year with Doc Rivers at the coach. They picked him up at 30-13. What's their record today? He did worse than the coach that he took over for. I get wanting a veteran coach there and
That's
Doc
a
Rivers,
matter.
but the team didn't gel. I completely disagree with Ron on what's his name, Dame. This Dame being able to get you one round. This Dame gets you a first class ticket to Cancun. That's all they're going to be talking about. They got owned with Giannis by this Pacers team in the regular season. So I know the Pacers kind of came back down to earth after that hot start, getting close to winning that in-season tournament that the Lakers hung the banner for ultimately. But Halliburton and the team should have enough. I like that in-season addition of Pascal Siakam. I think that's going to be enough to get them over the hump, especially with no Giannis. But even with Giannis, this was going to be a closely contested 6 to 7 game series. With this, give me the Pacers in 6 because the Bucks aren't going to have enough offensive firepower. Yes, they have names. If you look at the roster, like Ron was talking about UFC 300, it's a little namesake when you talk about Middleton and Pat Beverly and Brook Lopez and all these guys.
Dame.
We know and Dame. We all know who these guys are, but right now, these guys were riding the coattail of Giannis, and he got hurt, unfortunately. So these guys, as a group, collectively, won't be able to get it done against the Pacers. So I'll take this all day.
All right.
That sounds like
Consensus
a
pick, I
lock.
think.
That
Consensus
sounds like
pick.
a lock.
And that's a lock. That's a lock, not a lean.
That's a consensus pod pick right there, right? Pacers.
All right, yeah. Let's move over to this game, and I'm, hyped about this because it's two basketball cities. You got Philadelphia and you got New York in the playoffs. I mean, what more can you want as far as East Coast basketball? This is going to be awesome, and look how closely lined it is. It's -110 for both of them. We saw Philly, had to limp in, had to come back on the Heat to get that win. Embiid ultimately did lead them to that win, Ben. Who do you got here? It's such an even game, such evenly lined.
This one's tough. I mean, the Garden is going to have home court advantage. I don't think that there's anybody on the Sixers that could check Jalen Brunson.
Facts.
But at the same time, I don't think that there's anybody on the Knicks that can check Joel Embiid. I think Hardenstein has been their starting center. We know Julius Randle ain't coming back. That other big man they had, I think it was Mitchell. He hasn't played in a minute.
Mitchell
either.
Robinson.
Mitchell Robinson. There you go. So this is tight, bro. I mean, if you're the Knicks and you got the second seed, this is not what you wanted. Like, this is not what you wanted at all, bro. Embiid still oh, man, this is tough. Like, do we think that Josh Hart and Deontay DiVincenzo,
If you can't say his name, they ain't doing work. Cause
golly, bro, I'm going with the Sixers. I mean, we saw DiVincenzo. We got to shout him out. I mean, he's a national champion,
Yeah,
national
Villanova.
champ MVP.
For sure.
He played 52 minutes the last game of the season. 52 minutes, bro. We know that Thibodeau runs his guys to the ground, but my God, 52 minutes in the last game of the year with the playoffs and now the Sixers on deck? Give me the Sixers. Embiid's been sitting a while. I like him to stay healthy. Nobody's going to check him. He's going to average 30-plus this series. Give me the 76ers.
Roland, I'm going to go to you. This evenly lined series, where do you see the win at? Who do you like a little more here?
Yeah, evenly lined series. I got to agree with it. Naturally, I would lean with the Knicks here, but you got to consider, there's no Julius Randle. So I see why the line is where it's at. Because you think if Julius Randle's there, the Knicks at least got to be like -130 maybe in this matchup, -140. Because, they have more weapons. But even
And home court.
and home court. But even then, I still like the Knicks. I think the path to victory is a little bit more clear for them. And it's honestly, you just got to try and contain Joel Embiid. I don't think the Sixers outside of Maxey have too many places that they can go. Buddy Hield, a little bit streaky. And I mean, again, like I said, the options for me lay on the side of the Knicks. The Sixers here, I know Ben mentioned Embiid's health, and I know it's a crazy thing to say, oh, so you expect somebody to get hurt. And I'm not saying that I expect him to get hurt, but it's still one of those things. Like, he's coming up fresh off of an injury. He didn't have too much time to ramp up for the playoffs. And now you're asking him to play against one of the most physical teams in the East with one of the coaches that, he bases everything on, defense and strength. So it's going to be a tough series, I think, for Embiid, although I do think he's going to get his. But yeah, I like the Knicks to get it done here. I think when you look at their roster top to bottom against the Sixers, I think they have more depth. So give me the Knicks.
No, Rolly, you don't.
Yeah, I do. I mean, they have Dante
There's a
DiVincenzo.
reason Dante
They have
DiVincenzo
OJ
played
Anunoby.
52 minutes, bro.
I don't know. I mean,
With, the Sixers. You got Kelly Oubre, who was a
Shake
Oh,
starter
Milton.
2-3
Shake
years
Milton.
ago in there as well. Mo Bamba, not the greatest name at center.
Look.
I mean, the depth. This is Robert Covington. I mean, there's a reason why it's lined this
dicey.
way. I
Yeah,
don't think
it's
there's
dicey.
a big case for
Yeah.
either one in depth.
No, it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be Sixers in 5. Jalen Brunson's gonna give you win.
shit.
Jalen Brunson's gonna give you one game. You know why? Because Philly's got them dogs in them. They got them dogs. Last night, Ben, what name did you say you were never gonna say again? Nicholas Batum.
Nick Batum is
Nick
going to lock
Batum
down
tears
Jalen
it up.
Brunson.
Hey, let's not forget about Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry's that dog. He's going to get you the charges. He's going to get you the 50-50 balls. Cameron Payne, solid backup point guard. I mean, he was even starting for the Suns at one time. Buddy
Played
Hield, when he gets hot, Tobias Harris got that big contract. He better do
Tobias
something.
Harris got to be done. after
He better
this.
do something, because if not, he's done. And then you still have Maxey, bro, who's this young star on the rise and the best player on the floor. Well, it would be tough, right? Brunson's there too, but Joel Embiid, I guess, best big man.
Joel Embiid's the best player on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, he's
so-
an MVP, right? So he would have to go to him.
What do
as
you
the
got,
best player.
Justin? Are you going to make it a tie, or you got the Sixers also?
I think I'm going to go with the Sixers here. I think you were right in saying, Knicks being the second seed, this is not the team they wanted to see.
Well, it's not that team that they're going to put on the court tomorrow that got in the second seed. They did very well when Randall and those other players were in. After the injury, they didn't have the same season.
They did add Anunoby, and Roland said that he's on the roster now. That he's really good. I mean, Anunoby's pretty long, no diddy. He's a guy that you could throw at Embiid, for certain spurts of the game and kind of give him hell. We know that Embiid also, he's very, he loves to get to the line, bro. So I think he's kind of like Harden. A lot of people said Harden was lazy and took some possessions off. I feel like Embiid does the exact same thing, just at the center position. Sometimes he'll fall and expect to get a foul, and he'll just drop the ball and it'll be a turnover. More often than not, he tends to get the whistle, but he's not that guy that, with Jokic, you know exactly what you're getting every play. With Embiid, he does tend to take plays off.
And the other thing too with the Sixers, you got to keep this in mind. At least in my eyes, I don't think they would have been in this position if Embiid was healthy the whole season. I think they probably would have ended up as a 5 or a 4 seed potentially. So that they found themselves in this position, because they were without Embiid a lot of the year. So, but yeah, I'm still siding with the Knicks. It should be a good series. I see six game series.
All right, let's move over to probably the funnest game in the West. You got the super hot Dallas Mavericks favored against the Clippers. Dallas coming in at -135. The Clippers at +110. Ron, I got to go to you first here. What's your opinion on this one?
Luka the God, bro. He's playing out of his mind. Kyrie, I think, is finally coming to his own as well. Ramadan Kyrie, like Ben likes to say. But this is a play for me more against the Clippers. It's just you don't know what team's going to go out there. Health is a big concern. Russell Westbrook, he's not the guy that he used to be. And I think they never really hit their stride to me. They never went on that big run this year that, with all those great players that they have on the team, people thought they were going to go on. And I think the Mavs are just going to go and they're going to ball out and they're going to shoot the lights out the gym on the Clippers.
Roland, they had a little run, right? I mean, they
Oh,
did have a
It
little
was like
run.
a 2-week run.
Who?
After at Ramadan Kyrie, yes, is a thing. But Roland, I'm going to kick it to you. But
Who had a run?
I know that the Clippers had
The
a
Clippers
run
had a
after
2-week
Harden.
run.
Oh
this
no,
year.
it was more than 2 weeks. It lasted a whole month. They
Yeah.
were
Oh, yeah.
they were the best team for a whole month in the NBA at one
They were
point.
playing a lot of bad teams.
They were
though.
competing for the second and the first seed at one point. And they had some of the shortest, and they still do, but have some of the shortest odds to win the title. But I have an announcement to make. The last time we were on this show, we gave out leans. I'm going to use a term here that Ron Penn used today. Gave out leans. I said I leaned to the Clippers. Big pending point of news for me was the status of Kawhi Leonard's knee. Guys, I'm reading another article today. I read an article on Tuesday that said that he missed practice on Tuesday.
Don't read into it too much, Roland.
I just read into another one. Watch this. Today started off cautious optimism. He'll be ready for game 1. Already, news has come out that he has not had any contact in training since he's been dealing with inflammation in his knee since the 31st. So he hasn't done any contact since the 31st. I'm on the Mavs here. They were playing the better basketball anyways going into the series or into the playoffs on that run that we were talking about, ending the season with Kyrie and Luka playing some MVP ball there down the stretch and got them to the 4 seed and able to avoid starting on the road here in this series. So give me the Mavericks. I agree with the line movement here. I'm not so sure Kawhi's even going to play game 1. They've already pumped the brakes on that. So if Kawhi's not going to play game 1, you're already starting off behind the 8 ball. Give me the Mavs here, and I might have to go place a bet on this when we're done podcasting here.
Wow.
It was a lean, though. It was a lean.
I hate that
I
kicked
in season,
it to
so
you.
no one's gonna hold you to it.
I hate that I gave you the mic for that shit, Roland. That was like the J. Cole apology to me right there, bro. Wow.
I'm sorry, bro.
I thought you were close.
I'm a family man,
bro. I thought we were going out on Uno's hill, bro.
I can't, not without Kawhi.
You're going and you're now siding with Uno reincarnated, Miss Luka, over there in Dallas. I'm going with the Clippers. I'm siding with Jeremy in the comments. This ain't no lean, baby.
Both y'all don't know nothing.
Yeah. We're going with the Clippers. Paul George, James Harden, Zubac. Remember the name, Zubac. He's going to play a big role in this series. The Mavs are too small. Gafford ain't going to be able to check Zubac. These guys ain't going to be able to check Zubac. Luka's probably going to go off. This has 7 games written all over it. This series to me has 7. I hear Mavs in 5 in the comments. I mean, that's Homer. Mavs in 6, respectable. Still wrong. This has 7 games written all over it. Who has home court in this one, boys?
The Mavs.
Fuck. I'm still going with the Clippers, baby. Uno. Justin.
Mavs in 6.
Justin, come on, baby.
No, I'm with the
he's a
Mavs
Lakers
here. I
fan.
can never
You can't
choose
go
the
for
Clippers,
the
bro. You know me. I can't take the Dippers here. I like what they did in the offseason, getting the 3 bigs. They were kind of positioning themselves because they figured they're going to be playing the Nuggets sometime in the playoffs, and they'd be able to throw 3 big bodies at Jokic, but I don't think they're going to even get there at this point. The way that the Mavs have been playing, it's working out between Luka and Ramadan Kyrie, as you said. Give me the Mavs, and I think the Mavs actually in 5. I really do.
Maybe
the Clippers have stars, bro. They don't have superstars.
Yeah. Maybe
and they only have one guy who's had any playoff stardom, which is Kawhi, and he got some bum ass knee, so he can't play. Harden sucks in the playoffs for the most part.
Harden took the Celtics
James
to
Harden
7 last year,
James Harden and Paul George are nothing to overlook for sure. They have enough to get it done, but I side with Luka in this spot. We saw Harden take a step forward last year in the playoffs, but then we saw him take a step right back in an elimination game in that same series. So you never know what you're going to get in the playoffs with these guys. I was just going to make a joke. I don't know if it was that funny, but I would have been with the Clippers. They brought back Blake Griffin. Shout out to Blake Griffin. He retired today. So I just wanted to shout out.
How many more minutes do we have you for? I wanted to get your picks real quick while we still have you.
Quick fire.
Yeah, I got a couple more. I'm down to finish it out. Let's keep it going.
Hey, and Roland Gonzalez comment. We're gonna get that over to our merch department.
I think that might have been Ron. We have the same tag.
All right, let's move over to Minnesota plus 114. Phoenix minus 140, boys, and I do believe Minnesota here, they were the 3 seed
Yeah,
or the
3-6.
2. They were the
3-6.
3, and look at this, man. Phoenix, they're coming in as the favorites. Ben, you actually were on this very early before the season ended. You told me you liked Phoenix winning the West.
I did,
So I want to
but
go to you first here.
well, I did, but I felt like when we previewed all the series matchups, this is the one. Besides Ron's homer pick of the Lakers, he had a pretty strong point
See you
on
later.
this one. Ron, I'm gonna give you the floor, and then I'm gonna rebuttal because I am on Phoenix, but I have a feeling you're going with the T-Wolves.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the T-Wolves and the Lakers to close out my picks for the West. And that's it, man. You guys enjoy the show. It was awesome catching up, and I will see y'all next time.
Thanks, Ron.
Peace, Ron.
Peace.
Lighters.
Enjoy dinner. All right. I wanted Ron to get his shit off right there. Let's see. We knew he had the Lakers, but I had a feeling he had the T-Wolves here. I'm going to go with the Suns, bro. I mean, we're talking about Anthony Edwards having to be a big shot maker here against Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. It's just more options. You got to think some of these games are going to be close. When you look at Rudy Gobert in there for the T-Wolves, if he's not catching a lob, he's not going to be much of a threat.
Yeah,
So
not much
Nurkic is going to be able to sag off a bit, help out in the lane against Anthony Edwards. The line is telling you all you need to know. We know that the T-Wolves do not have Cat. For the series, Cat is probably somebody who could have made KD work defensively because I believe KD does play the 4 for the Suns. So, I got the Phoenix Suns, bro. Too many options, too many big-time shot makers in the playoffs. I like Ant Edwards, but when Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley are options number 2, I can't rock with the T-Wolves. So I like the Suns here.
I do appreciate you taking them very early, so I don't mind them being 140 and you standing behind them, Ben. Roland, where are you on this one?
Man, this was tough because the Timberwolves, they were kind of, front runners the whole year, leading the West, 1 through 2. They were the 1 seed for a good part of the year till they, toppled. Ben mentioned that Cat injury. Although you got to, wonder whether or not, Cat really, adds, winning basketball to your team. He is a point guy, but, it's a stat guy. Naz Reid has filled in just perfectly for him. He's been in the contention for 6th man of the year. I don't think he's going to get it, but Naz Reid has been playing pretty good. I think 2nd or 3rd year guy out of LSU can really stretch the floor for them. This whole time I've kind of been against the Phoenix Suns just because much like some of these other teams that we've seen, and we saw one go out the other night with the Warriors, I felt like they never really flipped the switch. We've never seen this Phoenix Suns team, hit their full stride. A lot of it because of injury. Their big 3 really hasn't been on the court at all together throughout the season. I do think that they're going to run into trouble in other rounds, maybe the 2nd or the 3rd if they do get there, but I think they should have enough to get it done here. It's still going to be a close series. I don't think they're going to run away with this and run them out of the series 4-0, 4-1. I do think this is at least a 6-game series. The Timberwolves have been playing good basketball. They play good defense. They have a good anchor in Gobert. Let's see if he can stay on the court. I know Phoenix has some shooters all around there, so we'll see if they test them there. We've seen Rudy Gobert get played off the court before in the playoffs, so that's at hand here with this matchup. I'm going to go with the Phoenix Suns minus 140, but don't think they go further than this.
Hey, and that's Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert.
I mean, depends who you ask.
He got announced
today.
Oh, really? Really deserves that. I gotta admit.
It got announced today. Rudy Gobert won Defensive Player of the Year.
Wow.
Oh well.
Let's move over to the Lakers.
What did
plus,
you have, Justin? Shit.
And the other one, I like Phoenix as well. I was with you when you said it. I was like, you know what? I'm down. I think that makes a lot of sense. Roland doesn't have the faith that I do. I think they can take it to at least a Western Conference Finals. I don't think they win it, though. I think they get bounced at that point. But let's move over to the Lakers plus 310 versus Denver minus 420. I'll lead off here because I'm, I guess, the Laker fan here. We didn't beat the Nuggets one time this season. We were 0-4 against them. We did have 2 games where we kept it respectable and pretty close. I can see us taking maybe 2 games off of them, and that's it. I got to go with the Nuggets 4-2 in this series. probably more realistically will be 4-1, but I hope it's 2. What about you, Ben? Where are you at on this one?
Yeah, Nuggets 4-1. I mean, we know the coach has a beef with the Lakers and LeBron. We know the Lakers
Abraham.
hate their coach. Very surprised the Lakers did win. We talked about it. I thought that they would position themselves, to maybe play against the Thunder, even though it was going to be riskier. But this isn't a match. I mean, you can't like this. You got swept last year. I'm going to give you one game this year.
Thank you.
But I have the Nuggets in 5. Not going to spend too much time on it. I hope that some of the games are close. I mean, I don't know. I do think game 1, the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are gonna smash them. Game 1, double-digit win. I don't know what the line is. Probably out already, but I do think that the Nuggets take care of business early and establish, that 1-0 lead on Saturday.
What about you, Roland? Where are you at? I'm sure you're completely in agreement with the way it's lined at minus 420 for the Denver.
Yeah,
Nuggets, right?
I agree. Minus 420. They're the better team, top to bottom. They're defending champs. They've owned the Lakers. We know the narrative. Anthony Davis can't beat Jokic, or Jokic owns Anthony Davis, whatever. But the one thing I will say is, even though it was a sweep last year, a lot of those games were closely contested, right? It was a pretty close sweep, if you will, if you want to give the Lakers a little bit of respect there, even though they weren't able to pull it away. 126, 132. I think it was 103, 108. There's a 2-point game in there, 113, 111. So these are all closely contested games. I can see the Lakers stretching this to 6, potentially, but they got to steal game 2. I agree with Ben.
Appreciate that.
I agree with Ben. I think the Nuggets are going to come out and smash them. Although, I mean, who knows where Michael Porter Jr.'s head might be right now. His brother just got booked and got banned for life. I don't know if that's really his brother or not. I'm just joking, but yeah, I like the Nuggets in this matchup. Is that his brother?
You don't even know if it's his
confidently
brother?
enough that I believed you, but I think he's actually an only child.
I believe you too, Roland.
Porter banned for betting on himself.
It's April 18th, and you're still trying to April Fool us, bro. That's not how this shit works, dog.
Hold on. It was. It is his brother. Jonte brother is a younger brother of Michael Porter Jr.
Wow.
And he's banned for life.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think you'd be all right.
I mean, but think about it.
The family still got money. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. But at the end of the day, was it really worth it? You made, and again, this is money that I would like to make myself, but he made about $2 million in his NBA career. And if you just put together his contract in betting, you know how much he netted out? I think it was something like $7,000 or $70,000. I know it was less than $100,000.
Not worth it then.
That he netted out in bets. And the guy that got him caught, was his accomplice or whatever, put an $80,000 bet to win 1.1 million or something like that on Jonte Porter props. And if you see some of the videos of this guy, it's hilarious. Like, he accidentally hit a 3. And if you're a gambler, like, you can just see like the look in the guy's face. Like, he's sick in the stomach. Like, you can tell that he bet his under half a 3-point attempts or 3-point shots made. And he hit like some crazy ass bank shot 3 to end the shot clock. And then he pulls himself out of the game. But I mean, he was doing crazy stuff, man. Like, he was checking in the game, faking an illness.
Yeah,
he was faking an
He
eye
was on that
injury.
Montani shit.
Oh man, but gamblers do crazy stuff, man. It's just that you wish they'd be a little bit smarter about it, right? Instead of going and putting an $80,000 bet to win $1.1 million.
But hey, Roland, but that's got to tell you, if that was it and his net was what you said it was, he was probably in a rowdy hole.
He was probably in a rowdy hole, and he was firing off crazy bets, like, and this was going from the moment that he got into the NBA. Since like the tracking of his bets was pretty amazing. Like, and this was all happening on DraftKings, and he wasn't like hiding about it either. Like, he wasn't doing it under a pseudonym.
He couldn't even use an offshore book
or something like that. Yeah, he was doing it on a national book. And the crazy thing that they tell you all the time is, and this even goes to play with the NFL now and all that, you can do just about anything with betting nowadays, but bet on your sport. And not only was he betting on his sport, but he was betting on himself. He was giving guys insider information. So,
but not even to like do well. He was betting on himself.
Betting on himself to do bad, and he was betting on his
control,
team to lose,
right? Like, I can control sucking, so I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I think Ridley, I mean, we saw him doing it. He didn't get banned for life. I don't know if Adam Silver was just trying to set the example with like the first guy and also a guy who was probably a G leaguer to barely making the roster, end of the bench. But I mean, I believe Ridley was betting on himself to do well, not to do bad, and throw off his whole team. So
Yeah, he threw the Falcons in a couple parlays. I think it was when he was hurt too. When he was rehabbing, that's when he put in most of his bets.
So he was like Pete Rosing betting on himself. It shouldn't be that bad of a penalty. But when you're betting against yourself and you're compromising the game and the product overall,
right.
Yeah, or like that college football player. I think it was Kuti from LSU. When he was there, he put in a little parlay on himself to score a touchdown and LSU to win. He didn't score the touchdown, but
that kid's successful in betting, right? Like he had a crazy run. That kid was like really making some money in college.
Yeah, so it's a crazy story to break. I say it jokingly just because I kind of wanted to talk about it with the whole betting thing that broke and him getting banned for life. I do think it's an interesting topic because we are betting on all of this stuff, on I don't want to say a daily basis or what have you, but, we are betting on this stuff frequently. We're watching the games. And if you see something odd or you notice something like that, you're always thinking in the back of your head, like, what's going on here? Like, are they, calling the whistle because there's too much money on LA in this situation, that they need Denver to win the game because the house is hurting really bad. You always hear how bad the house needs a certain side to come in. So naturally, there's already that little bit of, question or like a little susness behind it. That you're thinking there could be something going on. Then you see somebody get busted like this, and there's already been stuff that's happened with the refs and stuff like that. So Adam Silver really had no choice but to ban the guy for life and make an example. Like if you even come close to doing anything like this, you're out because once you've already mixed church and state with the NBA doing partnerships with the DraftKings and other sports betting avenues or whatever in the NFL. You've already mixed church and state, so you got to really do your best to police it. And that's why I think Ohtani needs to be in jail.
Yeah, under the prison. Under the prison, deport him back.
Send him back to Shanghai. Hey, so Rob says we should have seen Bad Sports on Netflix. I'll have to check that one out, Rob.
Yeah, I think that was a Tim Donaghy story. But, I mean, the NFL still has it. Like, bro, when they need when they have an agenda, they send Scott Foster, and he has no fucking shame. Scott Foster goes right in there. And you'll give the Lakers a win against the Pelicans to have them make the playoffs. Like, because that's what the NBA needs, right? So the NBA still has their guy. It's Scott Foster.
All right. Well, this is our last slide of the day. We've covered UFC. We hit the boxing, and we're about to hit the NBA. And here we are with the title odds. I want you to take a look at it real quick. Give me one pick from the West. Give me one pick from the East. Ben, I'm going to start with you. One pick West, one pick East. Go.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Clippers. No. I'm going to go with the Suns. I'm going to go with the Suns. And then in the East, in the East, I'm not going to go with the Celtics, even though that's the obvious pick.
Right? I mean, the shortest odds.
I'm gonna go with the 76ers, bro.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. I like that.
Bold pick.
Man, for me, I want to take the Thunder, but that completely goes against, my thought process of fading the Magic here and, first timers, because it's for the most part is a lot of these guys' first times in the playoffs. And as a one seed, it is a little bit scary, but you got to, 1,400 odds on a one seed, when do you really get that right? But my long shot here, I'm going to agree with Jerry, a complete flip from where I was the other day.
Rolling straight J. Cole apology.
Wow,
bro.
I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit on the Mavs here.
Okay,
they got Luka playing good. They arguably have the second best duo in the West. We're talking duos here. Is Jamal Murray versus Jamal Murray and Jokic. Give me Luka and Kyrie enough to get it there. In the 4 seed, they avoid the Nuggets. That's key. So it's going to be the Mavs versus the Thunder in the 2nd seed. Give me the Mavs at least reaching the Western Conference Finals here and giving the Nuggets a run for their money. That's all I can hope for if I'm taking that bet. So give me plus 1,600, and I'm going to be square here on the East. This is the Celtics game to lose. They should be minus 125.
Yeah, I want to change my pick on that. If Roland's going to do this 360 on the Mavs, I'm going to jump off what I just said about the 76ers and go with the Celtics, bro. and
I
have
mean, Roland
no
didn't
shame
pick short
about
odds is plus
it. And have
1600.
no shame about it because Camarada has all
I-
the spotlights on him right now.
I leaned though. I leaned.
Nah.
last
Yeah,
Ah,
you
podcast.
leaned. It was an official lock. Thanks
No,
to
but
Ron
it
for
was
giving
more
us
than
that.
it was more than that though.
You ain't young jock, bro.
I will say it
Nah,
was more than
nah.
that because in the mid-season show I did call out the Clips as my team. So
You were on board, bro.
I was, but I'm hopping off ship. I'm hopping off. I'm off. You don't even need to. You don't even need to give me the lifesaver. Luka
Hey,
and
hey.
Kyrie just threw me
Well,
one. I'm
once he
hopping
said
on
the
it.
Kawhi thing,
Wow.
Roland had flashbacks to the Spurs, and I don't blame him. I really don't. He knows what Uncle Dennis can do into Kawhi's mentality, and that the kid's probably not going to play most of the series. I don't blame
But he
him.
was on because of Uno, bro. He was on board because of Uno.
because of
Uno's
Harden.
my
yeah.
guy. I'm a Uno guy.
No. Hey, unfollow, Roland. Fucking unfollow, bro.
I'll go and follow on Instagram right now. Don't you worry.
Wow.
Real quick, let me get my picks. I can't believe I'm saying this. I even hate to say it. I got to get the Celtics. Disgusting. They're gonna win the East. We did a pod a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I said it's theirs to lose at this point. Nobody's touching them. And in the West, I really do think we are gonna see the Nuggets, and I think the Nuggets are gonna repeat. I think we're gonna get back-to-back champions. I think Jokic is gonna get a second one, and then we're gonna have to see that team split up a little bit because there's gonna be contracts deserved at that point. They can't keep Aaron Gordon, Jokic, MPJ, Murray all together. It's gotta blow up at some point, and I think this is gonna be it. They're gonna get 2, and I think that's it for them.
Put that in a little parlay. Get some odds there. 135.
Aaron Gordon ain't going nowhere, bro. He's taking that team-friendly deal to come back. Trust me.
Well, that's good for them because they're gonna win more if he does. But Roland, sign us off here, man. I think that's it for us, right?
Yeah, man, it's been a great show. We talked fight. We finally got to recap UFC 300, which I think all of us were waiting to do. Got into the playoffs. We're going to be here hopefully to talk about maybe some NFL draft. I know we didn't do our draft previews, but the draft still takes place next Thursday. Maybe we'll go on live for the draft show
Yeah.
before the
Nice.
NFL takes us down or stops us or something. But this is a pre-show you got to watch for the draft. So, yeah, I'm going to leave you guys with that.
All right. Well, that's it for us, guys. Peace.
Peace.